My beloved child, if you found this video today, don't rush away. Take a deep breath and stay with me for a moment. Life has been heavier than you expected. You've smiled in front of people while hiding your tears. You've prayed in silence, wondering if anyone was listening. Sometimes you've asked, Lord, have you forgotten me? The answer is no. This is an inspirational story about hope, faith, and the promise that even in our darkest moments, God is still at work. Imagine a young man named Daniel. Daniel had lost almost everything. His job was gone. His closest friends had disappeared. His family was struggling. Every night he looked at the ceiling, asking one question, God, where are you? Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Nothing seemed to change. But what Daniel didn't know was that God was preparing a miracle behind the scenes. Sometimes heaven is silent because heaven is working. The seed buried beneath the ground looks forgotten, yet it is preparing to become a mighty tree. Your story may feel buried today, but it is not over. The greatest chapter has not yet been written, so don't stop believing. Don't stop praying, because your breakthrough may be closer than you think. Continue with Daniel's journey, lessons of faith, answered prayers, forgiveness, and hope. Daniel walked home under a sky filled with dark clouds. The cold wind brushed against his face, but it was nothing compared to the storm inside his heart. For months, he had searched for work. Every interview ended with the same answer. We'll let you know. But no one ever called. His savings were gone. Bills were piling up. Every morning he tried to stay hopeful, yet every evening he returned home with another disappointment. One rainy night, Daniel quietly whispered a prayer. Lord, if you can hear me, please give me one reason not to give up. There was no loud voice, no flash of light, only silence. At first, Daniel thought nothing had happened, but deep inside, a strange sense of peace began to replace his fear. The problems around him had not disappeared, yet something within him had changed. The next morning, Daniel opened an old Bible that had been sitting on a dusty shelf for years. His eyes fell on a verse that reminded him that God stays close to those who are broken-hearted and never abandons those who trust in him. Those words felt as though they had been waiting just for him. Daniel realized something important. Faith is not believing after you see the miracle. Faith is trusting even before the miracle arrives. That day, instead of complaining, he chose gratitude. He thanked God for another sunrise. He thanked God for the strength to keep going. He thanked God for opportunities he couldn't yet see. Little did Daniel know, someone across the city had just read his job application one more time. A decision was being made that would change his future forever. But Daniel had no idea. He simply kept walking by faith, one step at a time. Sometimes the greatest blessings are already moving toward you while you think nothing is happening. If your heart feels tired today, don't stop believing. Your story is still being written, and the chapter you're living now is not the end. The greatest surprise often comes after the longest season of waiting. Part 3. The door that seemed impossible. The next morning, Daniel's phone rang. He almost ignored it. After so many disappointments, he expected another rejection. But something in his heart whispered, "Answer the call." With trembling hands, he picked up the phone. "Hello, is this Daniel?" "Yes. We reviewed your application again. We'd like to invite you for one final interview." Daniel stood frozen. For a moment he couldn't speak. When the call ended, tears filled his eyes. He looked toward the sky and quietly said, "Thank you, Lord." The interview was scheduled for the next day. That night, fear tried to return. What if I fail again? What if this is just another disappointment? But then Daniel remembered every moment God had carried him through. He chose to replace fear with faith. The following morning, he put on his best clothes, even though they were old and worn. As he walked into the building, he silently prayed, "Lord, if this door is for me, no one can close it. If it isn't, help me trust that you have something even better." The interview went better than he had imagined. The manager smiled and said, "Your qualifications are good, But what impressed us most was your honesty and perseverance. Daniel left the office with hope burning brighter than it had in months. 3 days passed, no phone call, no email. The old doubts returned. Maybe I wasn't chosen after all. But this time, Daniel refused to give up. He kept praying, he kept believing, he kept moving forward, because he had learned a powerful truth. God's timing is never late. It is always perfect. What Daniel didn't know was that Beihai